Hello and welcome to the Comic Conspiracy episode 489 for the week of Tuesday, February 23rd, 2021. My name is Ryan Higgins, and we're going to start off with a little bit of a different episode this week after we introduce everyone, because we're going to say goodbye to a legend. Well, we'll talk about that in a second. Who's here this week?
Brock Sager.
Crap. What's his name? Kevin.
That Kevin is not here. That would be Toby that just said that.
And Charlie.
Yeah.
I just like the fact that, Kevin couldn't remember his own name. That's just
Kevin
all the
wasn't
more.
here because all I do is repeat. So he was not here to introduce himself. Therefore, I got a little brain freeze.
Toby, we were talking about it before we started recording, but we're just jumping into it because you got here, so we can talk about it. If you haven't seen the news,
What news?
the only Fry's Electronics is done.
Wah, wah, wah.
At least that's the reports that are kind of coming out today. As far as I can tell, Fry's itself hasn't put out an official statement.
For real?
But word is they are locking the doors. They are done. The site's going down any minute now, and
the legend.
the stores are locking their doors tonight, and they will not reopen tomorrow. Okay, first of all, we will get to comic books here in a little bit, but I mean, this is literally happening as I hit record. So
No.
this is like Geekbox talk, and I'm sure we'll cover it next week in the podcast, but because it's happening now.
They steal our shit all the time.
We're going to talk about this now. If you're a Bay Area, if you're a California person,
What are you
first of
talking
all,
about? The fucking site is still up.
it's like report is it's all coming down like now, like literally like in as we're talking. So
I'd order my arcade one up right now.
if it's still up, do it. I don't. We'll see what shakes out tomorrow. I mean, it takes a little bit of time to close a store like this, but if you're in California, but especially in the Bay Area where Fry's Electronics started, Fry's was how do you explain it to people that don't have it? It's like a Target for electronics.
No. Wrong start. It's like the Home Depot.
It's like a Home Depot.
Yeah.
Sure. There you go.
Yeah, because Target is a little too
nice.
common. Yeah, it's a little too family oriented. This is like if you need this fucking weird adapter thingy, that's not even an adapter that goes inside a motherboard thingy, and it has no label. Fry's is where you go find it.
Yeah, it's like a Radio Shack on fucking crack, but
It's basically a large warehouse that is, at least the original setup of Fry's was a large warehouse that would have walls and motherboards and RAM and PC video games and stereo equipment and just everything that you kind of associate with like Best Buy and these other places that sprouted up. Like Fry's was that turned up to 11 kind of thing.
Yeah.
I literally I'm actually more tore up about this than I thought I was going to be. Like, we all saw this coming. That it was a bizarre situation walking in there in the last 5 years, because I would still go there on maybe once a year. Like, fuck, I really need something. I don't even want to wait for Amazon to 2-day Prime it. Like, I'll just go to Fry's, and you walk in there now, and it's like, imagine if you walked into a Walmart and every aisle was the worst selling product in that aisle. It was that one item, one copy on a shelf for the entire length of the store. You'd walk in and there would be some bonkers a motherboard or computer case, and they would have 500 of them. It became this weird, surreal, what? How is this place still in business?
I considered it. It became basically the dumping ground for the stuff that nobody else would take. Unfortunately, and so. Toby and I have talked about Black Friday for a long time and that kind of stuff. And Fry's was one of the first stores that we used to hit when we started Black Friday shopping, and I don't even think we went the last few years because they stopped having anything worth going to for.
Yeah.
Well, the rumor
And
had it they lost a bunch of their suppliers, right? That was the rumor, or
So
that's what
what-
they said publicly, at least.
So what my understanding is, and what they had said publicly, if I recall, is that they were trying to move their model to a consignment model.
Yeah.
So similar to what like Costco and Sam's Club and that kind of stuff do, where now they are just giving a place for companies and stuff to bring product, and then they basically get a commission as it sells. So they're not putting up their own money on the product and that kind of thing.
Which is a far cry from what they used to be. It used to be like, you think of anything, they have it.
Yeah. And that's really the way Fry's was for a long time. Like,
Yeah.
any movie I wanted, any seat, like, they were absolutely a place that just would keep their shelves stocked with every item imaginable, practically. And you're right, in terms of the random computer part or adapter or whatnot, they were one of the very last holdouts where they just had everything. But there were two things that I'm aware of that kind of happened along the way. I know they had somebody pretty high at the company who was responsible for the ordering of merchandise and started taking kickbacks. And that's when they really started to get stuck with stuff like HD DVDs, when that was a dead medium and like media format and stuff like that. And you could see it in stuff that they'd have tons of on the shelf that you'd walk through and be like, why on earth did they get all this stuff? And then from that, like, you could just see over time as they would scale back their inventory, because I don't really feel like they ever recovered from that. Like, they had all the crap on the shelf that this guy had brought into the store, so they didn't have the money to put into the stuff that would traditionally be there. So, like, in the past few years especially, it's been a really random smorgasbord of really cheap items that you... Like, they'd have a couple of different seasons of House on Blu-ray, really cheap, and it's not like every season. It would literally be like 2 different seasons of House, which they'd have like 30 copies of. And stuff like that.
You know, and I mean, it wasn't just, weird electronic parts, right? I mean, when I was talking to Leanne about this before we started recording, I mean, early in our relationship, we would go to Fry's and just hang out to look at the DVD section, especially, man, they're like, you don't even go to the video game stores, because Fry's would have, like, they wouldn't just have the new games. They would have, like, we have Game Boy Color, like GBA and DS games. And they were just like they weren't like a specialty shop. They just were like, we just have fucking everything. We have everything. We have PS1, PS2, and PS3 games, because why not? Because we'll sell them. It was crazy.
So I got the impression the way they kind of handled a lot of stuff like that is they would just keep ordering it as long as it would keep selling.
Yeah.
And a lot of times what that would mean is, especially before the internet and eBay and that kind of stuff really took off, they would have stuff that was just gone everywhere else, that has just been sitting there for 6 years that nobody bought.
Yeah, to explain what the store looked like to people too, not every location, but a lot of locations were bizarre looking. Like the one here in San Jose was made like a Mayan temple or something.
Well, they have themes.
Yeah, the one in LA that everyone knows about is the UFO, like 50s like sci-fi one. That one's super
I never went to that one.
Oh no! I don't remember where it is. It's got to be in Hollywood or Burbank or something like that. Yeah, I've been there before. It's really neat. Well, I mean, it's not really neat. It's just a Fry's, but it was a cool design. The Sunnyvale one. So they opened in Sunnyvale in the 70s as like a supermarket, and then I never went to that location because that must have closed. I don't know when they moved. They moved to like a not a big location, but a larger location before moving to the massive one. And I would go in there like early days of computers, For me, early days of my computing time as a teenager, and I'm sure once Amazon, once all the online stuff, they just couldn't keep up. But yeah, you could just roll in there at any point, and they would have the most random thing you needed, and they would have 50 of them. And it was always a nightmare. I mean, the employees there were, especially later, got really bad.
Oh, I have a story on that. So you figure if you go into a store, you need something specific that they would hire people that know about their stuff. This is Fry's excellent customer service. I went in there, found the aisle, whatever I needed. I think it was a printing thing. I forgot at this point what it was, but I went into the right aisle. I ran into the right section. I think I found what I needed, but I just wanted someone to verify. I'm like, the employee just happened to walk by. I'm like, hey man, is this what I needed for whatever thing I needed it for, right? And what the gentleman did right in front of me was he took my box, he thought about it, then he starts reading me the box. He's like, well, this says, and starts reading me the box. I'm like, well, I know how to read, motherfucker. I just wanted to verify if this is it. But if you don't know, it's totally fine. But I can read the box myself.
There's a great one of my customers at the store, one of my guys online, Jonathan. Here's a great thing on Twitter that he just posted. He says, Fry's had legendary, terrible customer service, especially in the Bay Area, because everyone who shopped there either wrote, designed, or marketed every product in the store, which is true, right? I mean, It was all the tech guys, and everyone went there. Like I would, my average purchase at Fry's would be like a DS game, a 6-pack of compressed air, a gig of memory, and like some fucking pirate's booty on my way out. Like that's what you would walk out of that store with. It was so fucking random, but I love. Oh, and a copy of like The Killer on DVD. Like it was amazing.
So for me, early on, like I was always going there for computer parts, and I kind of had an understanding. And this wasn't like a negative for Fry's. It was just I had the understanding that I was going to have to bring the part back at least once to replace it for another one because the first one would never work properly.
Oh, they had their return policy was like, you will take anything back for any reason. It doesn't matter, which did lead to issues. Don't get me wrong, but it's.
I think at one point in time on this podcast, we heard Toby's epic Fry's journey to go to the magazine section because that was the only place that had magazines left.
Oh yeah. Like comic books collect certain magazines for the covers, and that was a specific magazine I was trying to find. So Fry's was the only place that still had magazines.
I got my final issue of Nintendo Power at Fry's because where else would you buy a magazine when that issue came out? I searched around and found it at one of the local Fry's. I don't even know if you could by the end. Yeah. Oh man. My by far, without even question, my Fry's story is camping out overnight for the World of Warcraft Burning Crusade launch. They had the people at Blizzard. They sent devs out to a couple of I think they were all Fry's Electronics to a couple of Fry's in California. And the one in Sunnyvale got one of the launches. So I have my copy of the book signed by like 40 random developers on the game, just in the art book inside. That is and then just going home and playing, or trying to play at like 2:00 in the morning.
You were downloading.
Oh yeah, exactly. I don't think I even started playing until the next day. It was impossible. Not you couldn't preload shit back then. But yeah, I mean that's one of my best video gaming memories ever, just being there with all the fans, and they had people going up and down and kind of getting everyone excited and riled up, and I'm gonna have to look around and see if I'm sure people have pictures of that they posted online. I don't think I didn't have any pictures. I mean, this is all pre-cell phones.
You never thought it would go away.
Well, just of the event. I wonder if anyone I know took pictures of the event.
We didn't think it would go away while it was in its heyday. I mean, and it was funny because everybody was like, going out of business, and they would go, nope. You sure about that? You're looking empty. Nope.
Yeah.
Business.
Yeah.
Well, it's like
it's bizarre because they're a private company, so like they didn't answer to anyone for anything. Like they were in a public company or anything weird. So
they survived. They survived when like Warehouse Music died, when Blockbuster Videos died, when
Circuit
San
City.
Suncoast, Circuit City, like
all that stuff.
They surpassed all of those.
I don't know how the hell. I mean, so when I would the last 5 years, again, I probably once or twice a year I would go into the Fry's here in San Jose or Sunnyvale, and if I ever saw 3 people, again, man, you guys imagine being at Target or Walmart and you just see like the row of checkers. Fry's had that like twice. They had just this counter that went like a quarter of a mile. And I would go there. There were Black Fridays where I remember that thing there was like an hour and a half wait just to check out at Fry's. You'd go there in the last couple of years, and there would be like 1 or 2 cashiers, and I mean, it's like they look like infants because they're standing in this what looks like it could probably fit 100 or 150 tellers or checkout.
Well, come Black Friday when it was in the heyday, right? I think they had 60 cashiers, like 30 on each side. It was pretty nutty.
It was crazy.
They had 2 sides. Remember, Ryan? They had 2 sides.
It would wrap around.
They even had like a lady that would tell you which cashier to go to. Like,
they would have like they'd be holding up the signs to tell you what number to go to. Yeah, like, you knew shit was going on when you had to go to the cashier on the back side.
Well, it's like they took the cashier at the casino and like put it on steroids. Because like remember they had the cages and then the people back there like moving. You're like.
Yeah, they literally would have a cage with all the high-end electronics, the high-end memory processors, and they would have people in the cages like pulling stuff down, handing out for tickets. It was amazing.
I mainly went for like DVDs and stuff, and like other random things like computer accessories, like mouse or something. But it was.
Yeah, the early days was way more electronic and again more like Circuit City, like more like Radio Shack, like quirky stuff. But yeah, they got really into DVDs and they were early adopter of DVDs and then Blu-rays and all sorts of other stuff. But then you could tell, it's always what happens with the store. Suddenly you're like, why do they have trampolines here? Why do they have recliners?
Yeah,
why do
they have a popcorn maker over there?
Well,
yeah. They had you started getting some weird stuff. You could tell the writing was kind of on the wall.
It was the aisle before you get to the as seen on TV aisle.
So in its heyday, they started expanding in ways that kind of made sense. Like they gave up like a quarter of the store just to like a nice appliance area and stuff like that. But yeah, when they started like. They'd had books for a while, and then the books only became like a perfume section. I'm just like, why on earth is there perfume sitting here in Fry's?
Yeah. It got bizarre.
Was it, quick question, was it next to the video game section?
It wasn't quite next to it, but it was on the way to it.
It's so funny. Like everyone, I mean, my Twitter feed is full of a bunch of video game fans, and so it's like everyone's posting like, "Oh shit, here's all the GameCube games I got." I'll see a lot of people talking about Warcraft, going to the release party. A lot of people just being like, "The store sucked for the last decade." Well, yes, we know it has sucked because you don't need it anymore. But man, God, like
I don't know. I always wanted Fry's. So there was a point in time when I thought Fry's kind of had to figure it out. They started price matching internet prices. They started doing like the daily coupon code emails to bring people in there, and they were like worthwhile stuff. For me, the real turning point is when the stuff you started to see in the ads was the same crap that you'd see in the like. The ad should always be the look at this high-end TV or this laptop like it should be items that are bringing you into the store. When they started showing me more and more like just going back to what you said, like the cans of air or DVDs I did not recognize at all. Like that's sort of the publisher. Like when they stop being able to even advertise, when they have an entire page just to like the USB memory sticks I start reading like the writing on the wall.
Well,
yeah.
I remember distinctly at the Sunnyvale one, you would walk in and there was the cafe that was in the center of the store, but the entrance was on the backside. But on the side that faced the entrance, they literally had their like ad just plastered on the wall of like the one that they put in the newspaper or sent out to like as a mailer. It just there. Look, this is all we have that's on sale, and it's like, what the heck?
Honestly, that was always one of my first stops in the store, is just to see like the ads. I loved them putting up those ads.
Well, it's always funny because they had so much to advertise, because you look for your deals that, you know, when you go in there, I'll be like, oh, I missed that part or that bit of the ad, you know?
I mean, to put it into perspective, this would be like 20 double-sized pages of like the newspaper. It's not like a one page. So they'd have the like Sunday ad that would be the like all week. That would be, I don't know, like 20 pages or 10 pages or whatnot. But then every day they'd have like another page or two in the newspaper of just ads for item that day or the next 2 days and like that kind of thing. And the amount of times I would make multiple trips to Fry's in a week because of well, let me preface that. There was a point in time I was going to Fry's almost every day because I worked a block from Fry's. But even after that, I was always going in there because of the new item that was advertised on Friday or Tuesday or whatnot that I'd want to go grab.
Oh, and you could just
crazy cool deals, like cool like stuff that would be on sale there that would never be on sale anywhere else, right? It'd be like very stuff and very electronic heavy and all that stuff, but it'd be like, you know, it'd be something that nobody else would have on sale, and they would like, we have it $20 off or we have $50 off, and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And they'd have every length of HDMI cable you can imagine. Or
oh yeah. I mean, Fry's is where I discovered, I'm like, wait a minute. Places want to sell me these monster HDMI cables for like $50 or $100 or something. Fry's has like a 25-foot cable for like 99 cents. What is going on here? Like, where the hell do they get this stuff?
Well, they were like the mono price, but the physical.
Yeah, that's actually really good. That's a really good. Yeah, that's a really good example. Yeah, I do feel like Monoprice kind of just taking that space.
They have weird like third party stuff too. Like they had like USB to like Nintendo controller adapter.
yeah.
Nintendo as a USB thing for your computer. Like weird shit like that they had. Yeah. They had like third party light guns. Like yeah. I will say I will quite miss them. I was semi rooting for them to figure it out, but the last few years have been looking really ugly for them. But I really do. Look, when I first moved here, Fry's was one of the first places I used to go to. Like I bought my they were the only place that would sell the VCR that I needed, because you know when I first moved here, they're the only ones that I could buy international VCR from, like where I could play my old PAL VHSs as well as the US ones play on the TV. Like nobody would even have that. Like I mean, even
especially because of the Bay Area and the large amount of Asian Indian population in this area, they did sell a ton of not traditional hardware that would be, and I don't think I ever saw like conversion like power conversion kits before Fry's. You couldn't go anywhere to buy that stuff, but they would have like, oh yeah, we have all the converters for all the different countries. It's like what? Like why are that? Like, it's crazy. But of course they would carry that type of stuff because people here would use them. So yeah. Wow.
I will miss them. I mean, I had some fond memories from that place, especially as a local nerd, so.
And I think Charlie really nailed it on the head there. I mean, you could just wander around that place. They had so much stuff to look at, and I did. I definitely spent.
Yeah, you'll definitely find some treasures too.
I most of the time when I was in the market to build a new computer or something, I would start there to look at what was available. And then I would do my research. And then a lot of times I'd end up back there because the price of the item there wouldn't necessarily be the cheapest price, but it was very close to sort of the online prices and that kind of stuff. Like they never priced stuff at like a premium or anything. It was always sort of a fair price.
Mm-hmm.
So there was and as I said, I knew I would end up having to return it or whatnot a lot of times, but because of their return policy being so open and stuff, if I got home, figured out this one was broken, just take it back there, get the next one, take it home. I could get my computer up and running within a day. None of this box shit up, send it back or anything like that. Just
I shut that place down more times than I can count, where I would literally have like a friend drive me over there at like 8:59, and I'm like, please, I just need one thing. I know exactly where it is, and I would just haul ass through that place for the one cord I needed. And I'm like, fuck, I can't. And I was up till 4:00 in the morning working on my computer, like, because that's just what you did. And man, I definitely closed that place down more times than I can count, just because I was like, I just need this one thing. I got to go back. I'll be there 3 times in a day. Yeah.
Well, also, because of all the returns, he also learned not to buy the stuff that's already been returned because
it's been opened.
Yeah. Special stickers on it. So you're like, nope, not that one, not that one. That one looks like a new one, so I'll buy that one.
Yeah. Oh, fries. Oh, pour one out, man. Oh, I actually, it was funny. So when I saw this, I was like, oh, I think I'm more upset about this than I ever thought I would have been. I'm surprised how hard this hits me. This is a weird feeling.
You need to go to Reddit.
Really good memories of being there.
And start a petition for people just to buy fake stock in fries.
I'm not, it's not like I was shopping there regularly. You know, it's a little bit like Toys R Us. God, Toys R Us was such a piece of shit the last 20 years. So, right?
Fries, when I'd wander through nowadays, as I said, I reached a point where I just couldn't do it anymore.
It's just sad.
But it would depress you to walk through there and be like, this is not my fries.
Yeah.
Toys R Us was kind of a little bit different because it did sort of hold on a long time with bringing in, yes, they had toys from 20 years ago still on the shelf, but they still got in like new toys and games and that stuff. Still, like up until Toys R Us closed, I think Toys R Us was still one of the places I would hit on Black Friday, especially as my kids were growing up, to grab items for. Like it wasn't that there wasn't a purpose for me to go to Toys R Us and I could leave Toys R Us with the item I needed. Fry's was the exact opposite. That store had the slow death. You'd walk through there and you would sort of sense the only way it was going to end was this way, unfortunately, if you walked through those stores in the past number of years. And it was really depressing.
Yeah.
There's a whole section of red, white, and yellow cables.
Just thousands of them as far as the eye could see. Yeah, they would have like
movies, which was cool. Like, you know, as a guy that watched a lot of Hong Kong movies, they were like one of the few places that were not necessarily like an import house. Like, you know, back in the day, you could go to the comic conventions and get like all these cool kung fu movies. But in the Bay Area, as a normal store, you know, Fry's was it. Like you get like the John Woo movies, you get all these kung fu movies. Like, you know, Fry's was one of the few places that had them all stocked.
Yeah. So picture again for people that have never been to a Fry's. You've been to a Target, you've been to a Walmart, you've been to a chain grocery store, and they have like that big cardboard dump in the middle of an aisle that's filled to the top with, you know, fruit or towels or something like that. Fry's would have that of power cord extenders, like extension cords and HDMI cables,
or just a general flashlight and stuff.
Yeah, or like some obscure battery, or like the weirdest shit. it's
like a massager and like.
Hey, as they slowly died, their as seen on TV section just kept growing and growing and growing.
Well, that again, there was some weird stuff
I'll tell you,
as time went on.
Yeah, I'm on fries.com right now and just typed in Blu-rays to see what movies still they have left. Number 4 is Venom, but not the Marvel Fox movie Venom. It's just some other Venom movie.
I was gonna say, is it like a full screen cardboard DVD with a little flap on it of a wedding singer or something?
It's no idea what this movie is. It's a crime movie. It's supposed to be the perfect crime, the sexy a psychotic chauffeur and an international terrorist kidnap a wealthy 10-year-old boy from his elegant London townhouse. But they didn't count on the murdered cop, a desperate hostage siege, and one unexpected house guest, a furious black mamba. The most lethal aggression. Oh my god, I may have to watch this movie. Man.
So good. We gotta move on. I could seriously, like, this could be our Fries podcast. I could go on about this forever.
Released.
I'm sorry to everyone that's like, what the hell are they talking about? Let's talk about comic books. Let's talk about WandaVision.
This movie was released in 2017 and never heard of it. Original year, 1982.
And it's on the front page of their...
It's like the fourth one. If you just type in Blu-ray, it's like the fourth one, Venom.
That's great.
The third one is called... the one after is called The Prowler.
Toby, check your Facebook message when you get a second. I'm sending you pictures of the Burbank store, if you guys haven't seen that. Yeah, it's amazing. Anyway, there's going to be you're going to hear a lot about Fries from nerds over the course of the next couple days. So jump on social media and check out some of the stuff.
By the way, I totally cannot read because I butchered half of that shit right now and made it.
It's okay. Poor Fries. Well, we're gonna move on to some not Fries talk. We got some comic book stuff to talk about and movies to talk about. We'll wrap up with WandaVision tonight, so you can save that for the very end there. There was a ComicsPro meeting this last week, which I got to go to virtually Thursday, Friday. Sorry, a retailer meeting.
Just have to know. Were you in your sweatpants?
Oh yeah, of course. Am I home?
Oh man. I'm looking up the pictures, and I totally wish I would have seen this damn Fries. It's got a lid in the wall.
Go look up.
Wow.
If you search for Fries Burbank, you'll see a billion pictures right now.
Oh man,
it's really cool. It's like the alien spaceship crashed into the front of the building. It's really fucking cool.
Oh, man.
It's really neat.
I wish I'd seen this Fries. I went to one in the City of Industry once, but that's nowhere as cool as this one.
Yeah, that's probably a normal one.
Why do we end up with the late
I don't really think there's any one that I would consider normal. Like, I remember Palo Alto had kind of a Western theme. There's like the Aztec Temple one. They've always had a theme. There was one in Texas, I think, that I remember going to that had like a giant piano as like the sign, if I recall. Like
Sunnyvale's like Silicon Valley,
that's lame.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
What was Campbell? Campbell was that was it.
The Aztec one, right?
No,
they had that.
San Jose.
They had that long ass walkway thing. The moving walkway.
You're going up. It's like a pyramid or some shit.
Yeah. I can't remember.
Yeah, I have to say about the Sunnyvale Fries, though, they always had that weird self-playing piano that I always remember.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't even sell pianos, but they had a fucking piano.
They sold keyboards.
Yeah.
ComicsPro. Let's talk about ComicsPro.
All right, tell us the news,
We'll,
Ryan Higgins.
we can always reminisce about fries in the future.
We could do a whole spin-off podcast talking about fries.
History of our favorite dead stores. That's actually not a bad idea. ComicsPro, yep. So we got to hang out. Oh, and Brock, yes, of course. If I'm in my house, I'm in my sweatpants, of course. Okay. Like any sane person, I'm wearing sweatpants when I'm sitting around my house. So everything's online now, of course. I got to do some quick little conversations with a bunch of the companies. A lot of it's just promotion for upcoming stuff, but a few of them had definitely more. They wanted to hear from us. They weren't pitching to us. They wanted us to kind of talk to them about stuff. Guess what? One company wasn't there. Dun, dun, dun. Marvel. They sent a video, but none of their people showed up. So good one, Marvel. Thanks for trying. Thanks for trying. Anyway, DC had a bunch of stuff got announced. So they were Jim Lee, first of all, did a video presentation, basically confirming their commitment to the direct market, single issue comics. The creators, they are not being sold. They are not like I can't even dunk on this stuff or joke about it or whatever. Like I'm just so sick of it. DC's not going anywhere. They're still publishing single issue comics. Their sales are up. They're adding more and more books to it. They've sort of, they trimmed down, restructured. They canceled some low selling books, and now they are building back up, just like what happens every couple of years. So while we didn't get any specific info on these titles, they did give us a list of books to look forward to in 2021, as well as Free Comic Book Day. So there's going to be a Free Comic Day book coming from DC, although Free Comic Day is in August, I think, and even that's like it'll happen. But
didn't it say that they were going to participate in the May 1st one?
No, Free Comic Day is in August.
Okay, because the article you said May 1st. Because I know that they changed Free Comic Book Day to August this year.
Oh, it says May 1st, 2021.
Yeah, so that's
maybe they're going to do something on May 1st. Free Comic Day is not in May. Maybe they just had the wrong date. So they did announce a number of new projects, and we're going to hear more about all of these very soon. Deathstroke Incorporated. Clearly something about Deathstroke. The Harley Quinn animated series sequel, but that's a comic book. So they're going to do a animated Harley comic, which I am very curious if it's going to be R-rated like the show, which could be very unique for DC because they tend to not do that with those characters. A Wonder Woman 80th anniversary title. I'm assuming it's going to be a big anthology like all the previous 80th anniversary titles with like 12 different variant covers. Elseworld, which we'll hear more about next week with Infinite Frontier. DC Vampires, so that is not the name of the book. That is a working title, but clearly some sort of deceased like book, except with vampires. I would guess,
or they're just going to expand the Red Rain universe.
Yeah, they could. Yeah. Robin and Batman. So again, we don't have any real specific info on this. There's the new Robin series coming out. There was the previous Batman and Robin titles that Grant Morrison had launched. So I think that's a play on that. Joker, a puzzle box. That's an interesting title. Don't know much about that. The Legend of Batman. Again, I'm assuming some sort of anthology. Maybe they're going to have like rotating series because we know we have Legends of the Dark Knight is coming back.
Yeah.
So that's going to be another. They've had a couple Batman anthologies right now. I kind of feel like Legends is going to take the place and be the ongoing anthology, which is great. Legends was a long-running Batman title. Crush and Lobo, which brings back Crush from Teen Titans and her dad, Lobo. Nubia and the Amazons. I'm assuming that's going to maybe spin off and give Nubia her own ongoing comic. And DC Middle Ages. So
Demon Knights are back, baby.
Well, that's my hope. Yeah, yes. Some sort of fantasy, maybe Justice League
Merlin
style. Yeah. Fantasy
get some
DC title.
Early Xanadu in there.
Yep. That's my hope.
Good stuff.
So we'll see. And there will be obviously more than that. So
The demon.
There's quite a bit of new stuff coming from DC. So if you're worried, do not be. DC's not going anywhere. I had a very nice conversation with the people at DC. A couple of people I've talked to in the past, and they wanted to hear what retailers had to say, what they liked, what they didn't like. They were very open. They understand that things got, were weird during the pandemic and things changed rapidly. There was even Jim Lee said in his video, the decision to move away from Diamond was not a quick decision. This was something, and I had heard this before, they had been working on this for years. This just was the time to do it. It wasn't like this was like, oh, we're going to do this now. This had been in the works for quite some time. So yeah. If you're a DC fan, they've got a lot of stuff coming up.
To ask questions.
So the presentations were just mostly pre-recorded video. We did 2 days of roundtables. So the publishers would come in. We would group up in little breakout rooms in Zoom for 5 to 6 retailers. And like I said, about 2/3 of them were they pitched for 10 minutes and then they were out. That's what they were there for. I'd say maybe a third of them, including DC, they were there they asked us, what are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? What works well for you?
So are we getting Starman omnibuses?
I mean, I didn't ask specifics for stuff like
failed.
that.
You failed. You had one job.
No, they wanted to know, what... and one of my things right off the bat was I said, I on a personal level, I feel my favorite DC stuff is the weird stuff. Vertigo was not only an incredible line of comics, but on a personal level means quite a lot to me. I understand DC wanting everything to be under the label DC. I mean, it makes sense from a marketing point of view, but losing Vertigo feels like there's ways they could make that work, both the creator-owned and the oddball DC comic stuff. If there's a way to bring that name back, it means a lot. And there's still some weird DC titles, but Vertigo is something very special. And I mean, they listen, they take that stuff to heart, and so I'm sure they hear it all the time, but it's I can't say it's going to happen. But
you decided to try and bring back Vertigo, but you didn't want to make one remark about the trades or hardcovers, that they should just continue printing them out.
Well, I mean, every single publisher was like, we know stuff is going out of print. We know we need to get them back.
Well, no, I'm more referencing they should just actually go through with what they're saying and go through the Birds of Prey trades.
And they have
the Robin trade.
In the last year, they may have only canceled 1 or 2 trade paperbacks. I don't know if that was Didio that was pulling the trigger on those books too quickly before, or maybe he didn't like them. I don't quite know. DC's putting out some crazy stuff now that I never in a million years would have thought they would have put out, and they're cranking out new titles. I think we're past the point of DC canceling a bunch of their trades. If they start books now, I think they know they have to finish them. We've had conversations about this prior as well. So,
did you bring up the Sandman spines?
Oh, I did that on the retailer forum forever ago.
Did they bring up any of those layoffs that DC's had, or they didn't comment on that at all?
Well, I mean, that was sort of that's sort of what San Jose was. San Jose, Jesus Christ! Sorry, I'm looking at something that says San Jose. That's sort of what Jim Lee. Man, what the hell? My brains are weird. That's sort of what Jim Lee was saying. While there has been, and again, I'm way paraphrasing here. This is not a direct quote in any way, shape, or form. But tonally and just some of what he was kind of saying. The fact that there have been big changes at Warner Brothers and AT&T and DC, but they are continuing to publish. Things are, I think, settled down at this point. All the people that got let go are at this point, I believe, gone. Most of them were there for a transition period, and I believe they're all gone now. So the people that are there, and now they get to kind of reform. It's different, but no, they weren't directly commenting on it. But I don't, at least in any of the groups I was in, nobody asked about it. So,
did you have any crazy people in your groups?
No, everyone was really cool. Everyone was cool in my groups. I was very concerned about that. I thought I was going to get some fucking asshole screaming their head off at DC, and I just have to bite my tongue. What was that, Toby?
I'm going to have to ask you things again because the internet literally cut out as you started answering and decided not to come back until you were done with that answer.
Oh, I see you. You're here. Can you hear me?
And if you're responding right now, I don't hear you. But carry on.
There's Toby.
Weird. I hear Toby.
I don't.
Let me send him a message.
I hear you now.
I hear him now.
You hear him? Okay. Toby, you back? You there? You good?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll try this again. So I don't know what you missed, but
everything. I'll just ask you again later. Don't worry about it. Just carry on.
Okay.
Yeah.
But DC seems to be doing okay. One of the things that got announced right as the meeting started, and they did tell us about as it was happening.
Returnability.
No. They already do that. They already do that. They for their major books. Coming out on March 16th, the week of the Snyder Cut, are 6, but 3 variant covers of Zack Snyder's Justice League dropped at the last minute. That's also the first issue of Brian Michael Bendis' run on Justice League. So there's the Jim Lee cover with Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Martian Manhunter, who we had not seen prior to this point officially in any Snyder stuff. Lee Bermejo with Flash and Black Costume Superman, and Liam Sharp with Cyborg, Batman. And Darkseid in the background, of course. And Lee Bermejo with Cyborg, Batman, and Steppenwolf. So if you're a Snyder Cut guy, you're going to want to find these comics. They're going to come to comic stores on the
And FOC is already passed.
Yeah. But
it was dropped on Thursday.
Yeah, but I think stores ordered it. Actually, Toby, I don't have. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
You still there? Okay. Weird. Yeah, I don't have a recording thing for you.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see how this goes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Toby. Yeah.
Wait, can you not?
I can hear you, Toby. If you jump out and jump back in, see what happens.
You want me to jump back in?
Yeah,
I can hear you just fine. Can you not hear us?
I'm just not getting like a recording thing from him.
I don't see anything.
I mean, I still see the line going for him, but
oh, do you? Okay.
I don't.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we're just going to keep going, Toby. I'm assuming you're good. You can hear us.
Yep.
Okay, we're just going to keep going. Hopefully this podcast doesn't. Hopefully we record you. The other thing that was announced.
That was an evil laugh.
The other big thing that was announced there was Tom McFarlane is rapidly expanding his Spawn universe for the first time in 20 years.
I don't know when did Hellspawn come out? Curse of Spawn.
Late 90s, early 2000s. Yeah, it's been a long time.
Medieval Spawn.
There are going to be 3 new monthly Spawn books. Spawn Universe, King Spawn, and then where's the other one? The Scorched. Oh, sorry. I think Spawn Universe is just a number 1. I think it's just a one shot. Yeah. King Spawn, The Scorched is the team book. Oh no, sorry, no. Yeah, Spawn Universe, King Spawn, and The Scorched is the team book. That's the 4th one. So that's going to be Spawn, Medieval Spawn, Gunslinger, who's one of the newer characters, Redeemer, and She Spawn, and other characters coming.
Hearing you say this just has the spam song from Monty Python stuck in my head now.
Yeah. Spawn. So yeah, lots of Spawn. Wonderful Spawn.
I like the Conan thing there with the King Spawn.
Yeah, it's a lot. We'll see if the market can support 4 Spawn titles. We'll say, yeah, I don't know, maybe. Spawn's been an incredible seller for us. It never sold the last 10, 12 years. We literally didn't sell any copies, like almost none, or zero. There were quite a while where we ordered 0 copies of Spawn, and now it's a beast. We sell a ton. So yeah. I mean, we'll see if Mcfarlane can pull it off again.
So I'm curious, especially since you said you now sell a ton and stuff. Do you have any clue, like, what the tipping point on that is? Like, what? Other than the fact that I know Mcfarlane started being more involved in the book again.
Yeah.
To the point where he was even writing the book there. I don't know if he still is, but he was there for a while under like an assumed name, if I recall. But is that really the only thing that kind of turned it around, or was there something else specifically?
I think it's kind of this perfect storm of the book had a really low print run because it was such a poor seller for such a long time. Speculators started to kind of pick them up because they were just very hard to find. He got Francisco Mattina to do variant covers. They were the first like normal ongoing variant covers for Spawn. The vast majority of Spawn, almost no issues of Spawn had variant covers.
Before that,
issue 100.
Before that, didn't he? He's like, I'm coming back to, was it write or draw it?
Right.
So like
and
6 issues,
and do some covers.
Yeah, and then after that is where like Medina started to do the covers and variants and stuff.
Yeah, he started doing those variant covers. We started to get people ordering like full sets of those variant covers. I don't know if Mattina had done stuff prior. I don't know what he did prior to those Spawn covers. I mean, he's huge now. He does a ton of stuff for DC and lots of books. But Spawn is where I saw him first pop up. He was a big deal. Those covers got really popular. So around issue 280 maybe or so. So a couple years ago. We're at 315, 316 now. All of a sudden... But I think the biggest part is all those 90s kids are now adults with money, and they've come back for their favorite comics. And
Spawn is one of those things that I constantly restock in the back issues, like
all the time.
It's like,
and if you look up issues like 180 to like 250, 260, those issues are like some of those are $100 books because no one has them.
Yep.
It's crazy. They're just, trying to complete those issues is impossible. They're so hard to find. So we'll see if people can.
So I'm surprised,
can maintain,
Ryan, that you haven't gone through the list of creators that Mcfarlane has already enlisted. Down towards the bottom of the article. The only reason it caught my eye was one creator is by himself. His name it's Frank Quietly. I'm like, okay, Ryan's going to be buying a Spawn comic.
McFarlane. Currently, the lineup. McFarlane has already enlisted numerous comic book creators to contribute to his growing Spawn universe, with more set to be announced in the coming month. Currently, the lineup includes... did they announce that these are all people working on these titles? Or is this just people that have worked on stuff in the past?
No, I think it's just these are people that contribute. Because it's talking about the growing universe, so...
I don't know how because
with
a lot
more
of these
set to be announced in the coming months.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these people have worked on Spawn or done related stuff like variant covers. Well, anyway, it says Art Adams, Sean Alexander, Carlos Barbary, who's doing it now, I believe, Brett Booth, J. Scott Campbell, Greg Capullo, Donnie Cates, Jim Chung, Mike Del Mundo, Javier Fernandez, David Finch, Jonathan Glapian, Kevin Keane, Els Cott, Puppeteer Lee, I don't know that name, Sean Lewis, Sean Gordon Murphy, Ben Oliver, Stefan Segovia, Paulo Sequoia, Mark Silvestri, Marcio Takara, and Frank Quitely. I mean, I feel like a lot of these names. Oh, maybe not. I thought some of these people had done variant covers, but I don't think Sean Gordon Murphy's done anything for them. Did Donny Cates write something in 300? Did he write?
I don't know. He might have.
Did he write one of those stories? I know. Capullo and Snyder did. Campbell must have done a Spawn variant cover. Jason Sean Alexander, Carlos Barbary have done recent. Greg Capullo's doing covers right now and did a lot. I mean, that's where Greg Capullo came from, was Spawn. He was like a McFarlane clone.
He replaced McFarlane on the book for a long time. There was somebody in between. But I don't remember who.
Yeah, there were people that did random issues, but Capullo was like the next regular artist after McFarlane left. Yeah. I mean, if all these people are working on these titles, that's a fantastic lineup of people. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, Spawn is Spawn's a crazy thing.
Spawn's still chugging along.
Yeah. We got some movie and TV stuff to talk about. We can.
The big TV thing is tonight, isn't it?
Superman. Yeah, it's actually airing. It already aired. Yeah. We'll talk about more of that next week, I think. Yeah, Superman and Lois definitely. I have not seen it. We will watch it later. I saw quite a bit of tweets about how this is the version of Superman people have wanted for a very long time to appear. So I definitely feel like this is going to be quite a bit of a crowd pleaser, and it is from what I've heard, a step up quality wise from the traditional CW Arrowverse. It's way more in line with like Stargirl and the production quality.
Are they going to have it on HBO Max at some point, or?
I would assume so. Yeah, I mean, so CW stuff, as I understand it, it's on. Maybe Charlie or Toby can confirm. CW stuff is on the CW app
the day after. And they have like 3 or 4 episodes. And then when the season is done, it's going to go to HBO Max.
Yeah, that would be my assumption.
Yeah, because they used to go to Netflix.
I mean, the big question for me just has to do with, so the Netflix deal was very aggressive to the point where, like, after the season ended, it was like on Netflix 2 weeks later or something like that. Like, it was season ends, Netflix really fast. But that was part of that deal that they worked out specifically with Netflix back then. So I don't know if it will be sort of the more traditional, the new season will drop a few weeks before the new season starts or something like that when it goes to HBO Max. We don't really know what that pattern's going to be like exactly yet.
Yeah, we'll find out. We'll find out when HBO Max exists at a time that a series or the season finishes at CW, because it kind of launched in the middle of all the pandemic stuff, and it doesn't really. We haven't had a normal season yet, so
yeah.
But we've got my list. Yeah, I got a handful of stuff here. Let's start with Department of Truth.
Spec book.
Oh yeah, of course. This is James Tynion and Martin Simmons' book from Image. Just got announced for a TV show. No surprise there. It seems completely not intentionally made for one, but I'm sure they were pitching this before the first issue hit the stands. So, of course, we sold out of every copy of every issue, as well as a trade paperback, which comes out tomorrow. But Tynion's been huge. I mean, all his books have been on fire recently. Batman's obviously a big seller. Yep. But actually, we got both acquired for both film and television rights. But I believe the TV series is like currently in production, or not in production, currently in like talks, and just got officially signed. So. Department of Truth is pretty cool. It's kind of I've read the first few issues. Now that the first trade's out, I'm going to go through and read the whole thing. Basically, like, think of it like X-Files on crack. Like, every conspiracy is true. Like, the more people that believe in the conspiracies, like, it kind of like it sort of makes them happen.
Yeah. Well, there's a great. I want to say it was issue 4, where they basically lay out how these conspiracies are basically woven together. When you weave them together, you can make whatever story you want.
Sure.
And you can make it so that people believe it, whether or not it's something that can be disproven right away. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really, I mean, art wise, it's out there, but like story wise, I think there's a lot in it that, especially with what we've been through in the last 4 years with misinformation and all that. It's just I think it's a solid book. People should check it out.
Yeah, we already sold a lot of the trade paperbacks out tomorrow, so I'm excited to we ordered another big stack of them, so we get some more in soon. I had no idea this was even happening, but apparently they were trying to cast for Supergirl, and now we have a Supergirl that's going to be in the DC movies. Apparently, among all the other characters that are going to be in the Flash movie, they're also going to have Supergirl in it. So they cast Sasha Cal from The Young and the Restless. So she's 22 years old. Latinx, as the expression is. So not a traditional, white blonde Supergirl, but that's cool. I don't know. I guess this Flash movie's happening, and it's going to be multiverse, and it's going to be a billion people in it. Cool, we'll see. I'll believe it when the trailer comes out. This Flash movie is turning into. I feel like Flash and Spider-Man 3 are both like not going to be what people are thinking they are. Maybe they will be. I have no idea, but I feel like people are putting a lot of pressure on these movies to be like huge multiverse spanning team up. Everyone's in it, and I'm like. Maybe, but I don't think so. Maybe you'll get Tobey Maguire for 5 seconds, but I just can't. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I got no clue. But I know someone else. It's going to be another show. Stargirl. Can't wait for season 2. We're never getting more JSA. John Wesley Shipp, baby. OG Flash himself coming over from the Arrowverse. Officially cast to be in season 2 of Stargirl. Very excited for that. He took off, obviously from Flash. He hasn't been in that. He's not going to be in that anymore. I don't believe. This is the Earth 2 version. So this is Jay Garrick. But there's going to be there's going to be a flashback episode with the JSA, and he's going to be Jay Garrick from Earth 2. So this should all tie into the Flash TV show and Arrowverse stuff. So. I'm very excited for that. Love John Wesley Shipp. Can't wait to see what he can do. And finally, we got another movie coming, another DC movie, Blue Beetle. This is what's his face? Sure, Jaime Reyes. Reyes? Yeah, Jaime Reyes. This is not OG OG Blue Beetle. Of course, this is the 2000s teenage kid, but that's cool. So they're going to make a movie on that. From Charm City Kings director Angel Manuel Soto. So yeah, apparently any belief that DC was going to slow down or stop making movies, or they were not going to have a lot of stuff coming, or maybe they were just going to wait and see. And I mean, at this point, it feels like they've got 1,000 movies in production or in some level of starting.
Hey, if they come out with a Blue Beetle movie, we're one step closer to blue and gold, okay?
Well, yeah, I mean, I like Jaime, but clearly I'm more of a Ted guy myself. But it's cool. All right, see what happens. See what they do with it. It's a good. He's a kid. It's not a lot of movies about dumpy old white guys. Although I think it'd be very funny. I would love it. You should love the Blue Beetle movie, but I get the feeling that's not going to happen anytime soon. So yeah, lots of good stuff coming. Movies, TV, comic. Man, a lot of stuff. But, of course, have to talk about WandaVision. Toby, you still with us?
Yeah.
There he is. So we're going to do spoilers here for WandaVision for the next, I don't know, half an hour or so. So feel free to check out if you don't want spoilers. So we're going to start that now. Now, I just want to say to all the losers and the haters out there, okay?
You're and a hater?
Oh, what's that?
Am I a loser and a hater?
It's my Trump impression, okay? We like to talk, or I like to talk on this podcast. I don't know about anyone else, but I like to talk, fan theories. It'd be fun, right? There's lots of people out there with terrible fan theories. We're talking about our great fan theories here that are always great and accurate on this podcast. But the 1 in 1,000 times I get something wrong, again, it's fine, right? It's fine. It's fine. I don't get paid.
I actually like whatever happens in the show. Like, as long as the show is cool, I'm all in, right?
Yeah.
When that reveal happened, I had such a big smile on my face. Such a big smile just to fucking rub it into you.
Oh yeah! Once they revealed that, I was like, "Oh, Ryan."
But you guys, again, you guys are taking this all out of context. I don't write the show. I don't have money on this. Like, it's fun to have theories. It's fun to talk about this
you
stuff.
Were so against the idea. You were like, nope. Now it's proven that she's not it. This is not happening.
Well, that's the fake out, right? Okay, clearly, something was going on with Agnes, right? Through the whole show. There was clearly something going on. She was the only reoccurring character that we didn't know anything about. She had some very creepy stuff with the kids. So in the last episode, when Vision whammies her and she kind of snaps out of it, I'm like, there it is. That's not Agatha Harkness.
She was literally in a witch costume.
But like, it doesn't matter. Like,
she has a pet bunny. Like all of the signs are there.
Hey man, I mean, if you go back to those early episodes, I think I absolutely said, yeah, she very well could be. We don't know. We'll find out, right? It makes sense, right?
She always came with what Wanda needed.
We don't know. I mean, this is clearly a different version of the character. She's not a villain, right? She's not a villain in the comics. But this was, I'm going to assume, is Wanda. I mean, Wanda is still like doing these things. It's not like Agatha Harkness is creating this barrier and making her do all this stuff. She's pushing her. So Wanda is still kind of the villain of the show. But and obviously we don't know. We'll deal with that, and we'll deal with the whole plot in a second here. But I just wanted to say, like, there's nothing to rub in my face. I'm not saying like I am right.
No way. It's it. This is it. This proved everything. This is right.
But I'm not like there is. I mean, of course, anything can happen. I have no idea. Now, I can tell you what I think is dumb. If the next episode is Wanda's like, or Agatha's like, oh yeah, by the way, I work for Mephisto, and now here's Mephisto for an episode, and then the show's over. That feels like such a weird. It makes no sense. Again, like, this is not a character that exists in the show. And we can go back a couple episodes. I believe I said something very similar to this. Whoever the arc ends up being, if they want to have famous actor roll out on the post-credit scene with a little like devil, shadow or something like that.
So
that's totally fine. She's the villain, right? Agatha Harkness is the villain of this show. Now, when you take a look at Loki in Avengers or the Chitauri or a guy in Guardians, I mean, they're working with or for Thanos, but Thanos is not the villain of those movies. So Agatha Harkness is the villain of the show, right? I mean, just there is not going to be some like, and now here's Mephisto for the next episode. Like, that's just not going to happen at this point.
Well, what about?
Never know.
See, I'm I'm still not 100% convinced that I would classify her as a villain.
Yeah.
Well, right. We don't. I don't like. She's doing stuff. We don't quite know what. We don't quite know why. It's been Agatha all along.
Well, yes, and I just have to say, setting that whole music to sort of like a tweak to the Munsters theme and everything.
It was amazing.
Oh,
it was amazing. But yeah, I think she's there for the kids. That seems very obvious, right?
She's gonna eat them.
Now in the comics, the kids are like part of Mephisto's like essence or soul or whatever. So could she be working for Mephisto to get the kids? Sure. But I don't think Mephisto is going to roll out in the final episode. I could be wrong, obviously.
No, you
So
don't.
it's not my theory, but what if Pietro is actually Mephisto?
But yeah, but again, I'm gonna take
high, like Woofy and stuff.
I'm gonna take that at what we saw, and that she was controlling him or creating him, however you read that scene where she's, doing her whammy on him.
Okay.
see, here's the reason why I'm not 100% sure that I would classify her as a villain yet, and a lot of this has to do with
Well,
everything.
She did kill the dog, so she's a villain.
Yes. She supposedly killed the dog and everything. I'm not saying that there aren't necessarily villainous acts in here and stuff, but I kind of feel like most of what she's done is almost to prevent Wanda from fully integrating into this world narrative or her envision. Like, all the scenes of showing her, other than the dog scene, I will totally say if the dog scene is what it seems, then yes, that was very villainous. But because we've talked about this from the nature of grief and like everything in the show, I kind of feel like Agnes, while is there to kind of keep things moving along, she's also there in a way to put the mirror up to Vision and Wanda to kind of recognize that this isn't quite right. Like, I don't know. It's an interesting sort of balance between slipping fully into the delusion and keeping them just out of the delusion.
Mm-hmm.
I have to find this. I randomly came across this interview footage of Elizabeth Olsen talking about Wanda and a story that Marvel never do. And it was something about the kids and the kids being taken away, or making her think she had kids, but then also taking them away. So she obviously has read some of the source material, but she followed that by, but Marvel would never do this. And it's an old interview. And it's kind of cool in hindsight that they might have just done it, right? So I need to find that clip. I was randomly on Facebook strumming to clips, and that was one of the ones that came up, and I was like, whoa! And it was like an Age of Ultron interview clip, and I was like, whoa! Like, this is how far we gotten, Yeah, I have to refine it. If I find it, I'll post it on the Facebook page.
Yeah, I know early on I had said something similar. Like, I just don't see Mephisto rolling up and like magically aborting the kids at the end of the show.
I'm hoping for Mr. Crazy Pandemonium, whatever.
Yeah, Master Pandemonium. Yeah, definitely not. But again, could
baby arms? Come on.
Could this show end with Agatha getting the kids, or giving her like fake kids to I mean, from a realistic point of view, I expect she takes the kids are gone, they next show up as teenagers, adults that are now superheroes in their own show when Young Avengers comes out or whatever. I just kind of feel like that's where they go with this. I'm just not sure that they're gonna stick them as kids. I would guess they would want them to be the same age as Hawkeye and Ironheart and Miss Marvel and all the other characters. Because right now they're like 10, 8, 10, which... But, I mean, they can just age up, apparently, so that's easy enough.
Real quick, because I just saw this. Cron 4 confirmed Fry's closing. Like while we were recording.
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah. Oof.
So, WandaVision, man. Yeah. So, what do you, Charlie? You were. What's your thoughts? You were saying, yeah.
I was just saying that other than the Sparky thing, most of the scenes that we've seen with her, the purpose behind what she was doing is a little unclear. Because they were already in this sort of pocket world, and like obviously she was pushing Vision to explore the boundary, and there were plenty of other scenes that we saw where she was pushing one or both characters to kind of face stuff, like the whole idea of bringing in sort of the other Pietro and that kind of stuff, again, kind of forces Wanda to deal with some of her grief and stuff like that. And as you said, from like the comic books and stuff, Agatha is not traditionally a bad guy, but she is obviously a mystical powerhouse and would absolutely be doing what she could that she felt was the best for Wanda in most incarnations of the character.
Yeah.
So
now, would it be crazy if the Stork was Mephisto?
Oh,
fucking Stork, man. Get the Stork out of here.
It popped back up again. I was like, it's Stork.
Yeah, so I don't have a ton more to say because they really kind of did that big swerve at the end there. But I this episode was a little weird for me. I thought they really nailed the film style and aesthetics of the previous kind of sitcoms or shows they were sort of emulating.
It was like Curb Your Enthusiasm, Modern Family.
The Modern Family.
I like the nod to the canceled HBO show Carnival.
I didn't catch it.
Well, that was the whole thing with the circus, right? Because that was when Carnival came out on HBO. Was about that time.
Okay, I love Carnival. Was that a reference to Carnival? Was them turning it into a circus? A reference to Carnival?
They kept using things from the eras. So I'm like, well, it seems like that's from Carnival because that came out about that time. So,
oh, maybe Carnival was fantastic. This is like a weird nitpick, but I thought they actually didn't film it quite right. The sort of shaky cam, zoom in, it looked off. Where I thought they really nailed it on the other shows, they sort of emulated. I felt it didn't look quite right on this.
Well, I think
which being the most modern type of show to emulate, that actually really surprises me. I figured they would have done that easily.
Well, they were doing a lot of different things. I mean, if you're looking at how that style works, I mean, it flows in Modern Family, it flows in Curb Your Enthusiasm, it really flows in Arrested Development. And so you have a lot of these different styles, and I think that they were just kind of combining all of those. And that might have been why it looked weird.
No, I mean, literally, like, most of these shows, whether it's Officer, Parks and Rec, or Modern Family, they have that cam that's sort of free-floating, and they do, like, the quick zooms, and they tried to emulate that in this, and I don't think they did a good job with it, where they did a very good job of emulating the film style and quality and tropes from other shows. It wasn't that they attempted it. Something was off the way, maybe it's the type of cameras they were using. It just didn't feel right. And like I said, it's kind of a weird nitpick.
I don't disagree. I did notice the same kind of thing, but at the same time, part of the whole point of this episode is something was off with the way that different objects and stuff kept defying the setting they were in.
Right. Everything was breaking, and all the old.
So I kind of felt like
was popping back up. So.
As the world was kind of breaking down, I kind of felt like it's appropriate that the style and the feel of the show almost felt like it was breaking a little bit along with it. Yeah.
No, then that was cool. I like that a lot. That reminded me of kind of some of those earlier episodes where things were a little bit broken, a little bit busted. Overall, good episode. Man, that song.
Now,
banger.
How many of you stayed for the end credit scene?
I mean, I always watch credits. I always watch credits whether there's something or not. So yeah, I don't know what to take really from that. I don't think this is Quicksilver from the X-Men universe. Whether it's a reincarnated version of this Quicksilver or just something made up by Agatha, it's clearly, he's got the whammy on him. So I'll be getting a Quicksilver photon fight next episode. That could be cool.
It's Captain Marvel, Ryan, for the true fans.
What's that?
Not Photon, Captain Marvel.
Well, she's not Captain Marvel.
Yes, she is.
Not in this.
In all the Avengers books I read, she was Captain Marvel.
she in the comics, she was Captain Marvel, but I'm 99.9% sure she's going to be Photon in this because there already is a character. There already is a Captain Marvel.
Going to be calling her Captain Marvel till it's confirmed.
I call her whatever you want. Like, yeah, that's cool.
I'm super stoked because her costume already starting to look like a modern version of what she did in the comics. And like I was a big Avengers reader in the 80s, and so Captain Marvel was a big part of that.
Honestly, I was just stoked at the way that they did a very good job showing the way that she was seeing the world around her and stuff.
Yeah,
when her eyes would change and stuff like that. I appreciated that a lot because that's something that would not be the easiest thing to translate from sort of like comic to film.
Yeah,
it's cool. It was good. It was a good episode. Definitely a good episode. And we'll find out where it goes. I feel, again, I'm gonna take it at face value that she's the bad guy and she's doing. She's controlling a lot of this stuff. Whether she's not actually doing the hex barrier and all this crap, but she clearly is manipulating Wanda to do this stuff.
Are you guys going to watch this week's, or are you guys going to hold off for a week so you could get both of them?
No,
I'll watch
it. Of course I'm going to watch it.
Yeah.
I know I saw some people talking about that book she had, whether that was the Darkholm or like a Necronomicon type book. I don't know if they have officially said what that was supposed to be. But
when it appears in the next previews for ordering, then you'll know what it's called.
Yeah, good episode though. We'll see where they go with it. Yeah. So I guess this is where we take bets. Do they? It's Wanda. No, wait, it's Agatha Harkness. No, wait, it's really Mephisto. Do you think we get another swerve? Now that we're here, we're 2 from the end. Do we get another swerve?
Ooh, Starbucks coffee.
Petro is actually the wizard.
So Brock is going to be at the Stork with Mephisto. I'm going to go with Master Pandemonium. So it's really between you and Charlie.
Do you think they roll Master Pandemonium just straight out at the end?
And Mask and 2 baby arms.
Trust me, that would be amazing. I would have no problem. Like I could, again, very similar fashion. I could see they defeat Agatha Harkness because she's trying to take the kids.
Look, truthfully,
the kids, they win, they go away, and then you see him kind of come out of the shadows, and he's like his arms are like in them, like puppeteering them as they're walking away or something like that.
Dude.
Clearly not exactly like the comic. I totally see that.
Look, part of me realistically, I don't think it's going to happen. But the other part of me is like, shit, the show went this far. Fuck it. Let's go all the way.
Yeah.
I'm willfully trying to will it, I guess is the right. That's the wrong term. I'm just trying to will it. So I'm going to go with that. My money's on Master Pandemonium.
You never know that they might sneak that high evolutionary in there.
There's that book, right, that the girls like, The Secret, or whatever it's called. When you just have to will it, it comes true. So fucking Master Pandemonium.
The Secret.
I'm gonna go with post credit final episode. We get a we said this from the beginning, right? What is the next Thanos? I don't think they do anything here. However, we could have a sort of mini, a sub boss, if you will, a mid-level boss. Whether it's Mephisto, whether it's Master Pandemonium, whether it's
So I agree with you.
Nightmare, right? Nightmare for Doctor Strange.
Yeah. That would be my thing, is I don't think you're going to get a Thanos reveal here, but I think you're going to get a bad guy for the Doctor Strange movie specifically reveal here.
Yeah.
Whatever form that takes, I don't know, but
yeah,
I do agree with that.
Okay, let's go with post-credit final episode, big actor plays villain reveal, because there is that talk of like
Robert De Niro growing up,
big cameo character that we haven't seen yet, and I could see that being a post-credit thing. I'll go with Nightmare. I'm gonna go with Nightmare and to tie in with Doctor Strange. I'm gonna go Nightmare. Charlie, who are you going with?
Well, if I have to go with somebody different, I would go with Mephisto, but part of it just has to do with the fact that I think Nightmare is more likely to tie into a multiverse movie.
Hello.
Yes.
Oh.
I stepped away for 1 second. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, no, it's Kang. Somehow it's Kang.
Sure.
I'm like, it's.
I mean, all of these things are possible.
Well, at this point, it's one of those things where, like, I actually enjoy the fact that.
No, Ryan. Ryan,
What?
I'm sorry. This is not how this game works. You're supposed to tell us that we're all stupid and never in the hell that it's going to happen. Therefore, it's totally going to happen. Why would you fight right now, or Brock? Fight his stupid story, so it's going to happen.
Well, I think what it is. I
asked.
Is it's like there is potential to go in many different directions, and the show doesn't give away what direction it's going in completely. We get a little bit here and there, so it's like it's breadcrumbing us to what that last, like you said, the reveal of who's behind the curtain, right? Who's going to transition over to potentially Doctor Strange or something else.
Yeah, if the rumor ever go into Doctor Strange, and that's the weird one. I get Doctor Strange. I get WandaVision to Doctor Strange. I have Spider-Man 3 multiverse stuff. Like, who's a multiverse villain for DC or for Marvel if this is going to be multiple movies and this somehow ties into that? I don't know. I don't know where that. I don't know what that connection is.
Wait, hold on. I mean, maybe I'm remembering this wrong, but wasn't Mysterio a different universe person or no?
No.
Well, in some of the stuff they did with the Ultimate Universe and like the 616 in the comics, they did have Mysterio going back and forth between. But we just had Mysterio, so it's not Mysterio in Spider-Man.
Was he just lying? Well, I forgot. I think maybe he was just fibbing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, he was lying the whole time. Yes.
Okay. I just remembered it.
Yes,
the villain was the villain.
But there is some history in the comics of Mysterio being one of the villains that crossed universes.
But aren't we forgetting that Eternals is supposed to come out before any of those? So,
yeah.
Don't we? Wouldn't we have something that? I mean, something that would connect eventually with Eternals and.
Sure.
I mean,
good.
So.
They always talked about WandaVision being the kind of the precursor to the Doctor Strange movie. I want to say that was known, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, and they very easily could do. There isn't a big Thanos-like villain anytime soon. We have these sort of, okay, well, Shang-Chi is gonna do its thing over here, and Eternals is going to set up with Guardians and Thor, and WandaVision and and Doctor Strange are going to go over this way. That's fine too. I don't need them to jump right back into some big major, arcing villain across 25 movies. Like that's cool if they do it, but I think they would wait for a Doom or another character to really get in play. Look, they could have rolled out, they could have cast Doctor Doom and they could have rolled him out in the end credits of this show. I have no fucking clue. Sure, they could. We have no idea. But
yeah,
I would be very, very surprised. But it's possible.
I just like that we're in a
See,
spot.
now you just have me going, okay, so if it is Doom, he set up this whole thing to leech power from Wanda and...
Yeah, they could.
Yeah, I'm actually enjoying that we have this mystery again in kind of the MCU that we had, back when, Iron Man first came out. And those reveals at the end were kind of like, what's coming down the pipeline, right? It might not have been something about like Thanos, but we would get glimpses of stuff going forward, right? Like Iron Man was Thor's hammer, right? Or was it that one?
No, Iron Man was Avengers.
Yeah, Iron Man was Nick Fury. Iron Man 2 was...
2 was Thor's hammer, right?
Yeah, 2 was Thor's hammer. Then Thor's hammer led to... I'm trying to remember how they led it to Cap.
Well, so...
No. Thor 2 ended with the cube being handed off that led into Avengers. I don't think they had a direct link to Cap.
Hulk was Tony Stark talking to...
Ross in the bar.
Ross, yeah.
Yeah, as I said, at the end of...
Here we go. Lists. We like the lists.
No, that was... Damn it, now my brain is going all over the place. What was at the end of Iron Man 2?
Iron Man 2 was Thor's hammer.
Oh, yeah,
so
the Thor hammer.
Yeah.
Then the end of the Thor hammer...
Was the Cosmic Cube?
It's the Cosmic
pretty sure
Cube
was the Cosmic Cube in the case with the reflection of Loki.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the cube led us to Cap.
Yeah.
And then the end of Cap was
the trailer for Avengers, basically.
Yeah, but it was more like Nick Fury coming to ask.
Well, he wakes up in the modern day.
Well, that wasn't after the credits, though. That was
no.
End of the movie. The after the credits was the
Avengers trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah. There wasn't a scene at the end of Cap, right?
Well, I think they did the sort of mini scene of. I think they did have like the Cap punching the bag in the gym and whatnot, and Nick showing up. But that's a scene from the Avengers movie.
Oh, right. Yeah. And then they showed the full trailer.
It was a cut down scene from the Avengers. That's what it was. Yeah, because Avengers was the mid credits where we had the Thanos, and then we had the shawarma at the end of Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's one of those things where the reveals kind of tease kind of the next, like...
Well, early on, the tease were very linked to this takes us here, this takes us here.
Yeah.
I don't feel like they're as worried about that with the newer movies having to sort of... A lot of times the after the credit scenes nowadays seem to be just either a bonus scene or something to tease where they're going to take the same character next.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not so much about finding Thor's hammer anymore or anything like that.
Yeah. All right. 2 more episodes. Oh, unless there's that bonus 10th episode that we don't know about. We'll see. I doubt it.
Hey, they drop a 10th episode so nobody knows that it's coming out. They can't leak anything.
They could. They definitely could. But I don't think they're going to. We have to thank all of our wonderful Patreon backers. Patreon.com/ComicConspiracy. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Especially Joe Duff, Jesse Peterson at the Comic Book Matters podcast, who I was on the other week. If you go do a Google search for that or go find it on Spotify or
Or
wherever
if you were
podcasts
cool enough,
are.
you could put a link in the
iTunes.
description for this. But
I don't put links for anything and anything. We talked about My Secret Origin and the New Warriors and a bunch of other stuff. So it's super cool. Jimmy Rivera over at the Social Forum podcast. Andrew Nelson Mendez at Recovery of an Anime Junkie podcast. Leanne just gave me some PB&J mini Skippy.
Hey, it's
like a 2-pack.
Is this real news that the new Spider-Man movie is called Phone Home?
No, I actually saw that, but I was not going to talk about it because none of it's real. All the actors made up fake Spider-Man titles and put them online today. But there's nothing to talk about. So, I mean, maybe one of them is the real movie, but I have no idea.
there is a few letters in each one that combine to make the actual.
I was hoping for E.T. to show up in the Spider-Man. E.T. phone home.
Well, E.T.
Do not forget.
Already connects us to the Star Wars universe, so
do not forget about Craig Anderson over at clearpathcoaches.com. Check us out on geekbox.net, comicspiracypodcast.com, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. Head over to patreon.com/comicconspiracy to kick us a couple bucks if you can. Please check out comicsconspiracy.biz, where you can purchase comic books from us for mail order or pick up at the shop. Head over to conspiratorBrock.com. That's Brock's blog, video posts, and unboxing videos. Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension podcast. That's Charlie's Doctor Who podcast. The weekly interview series Between the Panels, which is over at fanbasepress.com. That's Kevin Sharp's, some of his work. And LeanneHill.com is my wife, Leanne. You can find her art there as well as at her Etsy shop, which is etsy.com/shop/LeanneHillArt. If you're on Twitter, you can follow all of us, except for Brock. Ryan Higgins.
Thanks.
Ryan is myself. Toby's Toby XI. Charlie's Insanity and Chaos. That Kevin Sharp is Kevin. ComicsCon store is the store, and we will be the first people on Earth to tell you when Brock Sager is back on Twitter after the
at Twitter support needs to be told, hey, you blocked this guy. Unblock him. Unsuspend
the
him.
banning continues.
Yeah.
I think our podcast crapped out at the very end of recording last week. Luckily, we got to the very end before it crapped out. Kevin Sharp did something goofy and the whole thing shut down. So we told you all about our good friends over at Geekbox, and we were not able to record this week due to some personal stuff. However, we wanted to do a wonderful congratulations to our friend Karen Chu, who was on former Geekbox host, who was on The Chase on the NBC. That sounds right. And maybe she won a bunch of money on The Chase. Who knows? I don't want to spoil the episode for you. You can find out. She was on the game show. It was super cool.
Well,
and our good friends over at Manga Machinations.
She did have that quiz podcast for a long time, right?
She does. Yeah. Good job, Brain. Yeah. Hold on, Nico. Hold on. We're almost done. Manga Machinations. This is where our episode cropped out last week, and we were talking about our friends over at Manga Machinations. So thanks to them as well. That's it. My dog is telling me this episode is done. So yes, I know. We're stopping.
And I get vaccinated next week.
We're stopping.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Wednesday, baby. Woohoo!
Fantastic. We're done. We'll catch you guys next week.